Hello, all Trade Picks viewers. Welcome to another recap. Today is Thursday, December 11th, 2025. And yes, Oracle stinks. Could have picked up the market after the news yesterday of a cut, but instead, we're brain drawn down. Still, we're up $29 in spite of that and making strides towards recovery. So, if you are thinking of trading, if you are already trading, please make sure you take a look at our strategy, which will be in the next screen, because you are poised to lose. And if you can't afford to lose the money you're investing, then you shouldn't be in the market at all. Make sure you trade on the simulator. And what we do in pre-market is we remind ourselves that we are not going to get a home run every single day or every single trade. Sticking to our strategy and to our discipline is important. And when that fails, we use technicals. We must evaluate our trade candidates, making sure that we understand the support and resistance lines, and we then wait for our trade, not the other way around. In the past 3 days, I've been making that mistake of trading before finding that real good trade. And here our P&L shows it. We started out down $7, then $42 before finding that big trade that gave us $71 to put us up ahead by $29. So we recovered. So we're doing something well, which is recovery. But the first trades, we're messing up on those. So we got to clean that up. And as you can see here, I used to be worried about the percentage of winning trades. It really doesn't matter. I made one trade, made $71, and my winning percentage is only 20% as opposed to an 80% with 4 losses. But as long as the losses are smaller than the winners, we can win. And here's the trade that made it bad for me. GRI, which is something I would not normally trade. I got a little bit eager and went in with 500 shares thinking that it was going to pick up because there was nothing else. And that was a huge mistake. And that cost me $31. But in the end, we recovered and we're up 29. So we're still green and nice size, not great size, but good size. So here's our first trade, BTTC. And the video is sped up 400%. So that's why you'll see everything else moving faster than normal. And what I did is I woke up at around a little after 4 a.m. and on the mobile I started looking, and Charles Schwab had news on certain stocks. It didn't have news on this one though. If you like our videos, please like and subscribe. Our videos, I mean my videos, my recap videos. I try to strive to do the best for you, and in each one give you a little bit of a tidbit that can help you trade better. Leave your comments below if there's something you'd like to see, and hit the like button. We really need those likes, guys and gals. So it was talking about IRBT and how from a few days ago to today, the short interest on IRBT had grown to 14 million, which was about, I think, don't quote me on this, about 62% of the outstanding shares. And that's crazy, right? That 62% of it is short interest. So that tells you stay away from it. But on this particular stock, BTCC, the short interest was less than 100,000. Percentage was really, really low. And it was moving up. And I thought, hey, it might have an opportunity, but it wasn't so. So sometimes what it's obvious doesn't really work. And in retrospect, in thinking of the short interest, IRBT would have been the stock that everybody should have jumped on, because with a 63% short interest, right? If the bulls started taking it up, all that 63% of those folks that are betting on it to fall to the downside are going to have to start cover, and they start building a real good squeeze up. But that did not happen. So I have not before taken an interest in short interest. I'm mostly about momentum and looking for momentum, and having to look up each stock's short interest or what it is was a little difficult. So these 5 shares here were an experiment into seeing whether or not that held true. And my idea was, you know what, if BTC BTTC is that strong, I'm gonna jump in with a few shares and then hold them all the way through the open and see if it'll climb. So that's what we're doing here, and that wasn't the case. It went up as 11.89, and like all stocks have been doing, dip back down, and then it just consolidating. And maybe tomorrow it might move back up, or the next time it has news. But there wasn't much here, so this was just entertainment. Down on the bottom left-hand corner, if you take a look at the watch list that reads P&L, instead of just putting the P&L, I put up the 4 stocks that I thought might do something. So AXIL, excuse me, had moved up real early, and I think the Asian and European markets, and had gone all the way up to 14, but then sold off. The news was that it made an agreement with Walmart. And then BTCC, of course, IRBT, the one I mentioned already, and MIGI. MIGI has been hanging around and moving slowly, very slowly, and it looked like today it was poised for a move up. So we identified it, and we actually did trade it, but not very well. So we lost a little bit on it, but that's okay. So we continue, and this was a long video. That's why I sped it up 400%, because I wanted to be able to at least chat about it and talk about it and my thoughts. So for the past 3 days, and for the past 2 days actually, I've made $29, and the $29 have come as a result of a great trade followed that has been preceded by some bad trades that put me down in the red. So I've been going from red to green. Which is a good thing, right? It shows that you know what you're doing. But if you remember the list that I show you at the beginning of what I do in pre-market prep, is to wait for that one trade, and I'm not doing that. So the FOMO and the anxiety of not being able to trade is kicking in, and that's a problem. So I held this all the way into the open. It's 6:32 Pacific time. And it didn't, and we're looking at MIGI. I don't know how that slipped in there, but yeah, okay, so that was backwards. Sorry about that. So we jumped into MIGI and lost a little bit of money. Now here we go. Here's the beginning. So now from here on, the rest of the video is not sped up, and you can notice the difference, right? Things are moving a little bit slower, but this is the normal speed. And it's 6:32 in the morning, and we're watching MIGI, and it did move up. Remember, we were looking at it. It was somewhere around above $8, and all of a sudden, it jumps up. We thought it had more in the tank, so we did take a little high trade up there with only 10 shares. And you notice I drew that magenta looking line there, because I thought that's where it was going to stop around 870 or so. I didn't think that it could go any higher, but nevertheless it did. And I think it was because folks didn't have anything else to do. At the same time, to our watch list, we were watching GRI making noise, and it had moved up from about 51 cents up to 58, and we were watching it as well. So I added it onto the watch list, and we're holding it. PETS was also slightly moving, but it was moving very slow with very low volume, so we didn't think it had an opportunity, and we weren't interested in it. So we continue with MIGI here, and it hits a double top up there where we bought, and it's just a few bucks, so we weren't worried too much about it. We thought here that it might go higher, so we're not selling and taking our $1.73. Instead, we just waited and let it sink. So we wound up minus $6 on MIGI, and then GRI starts to move, and I should have seen this. If you look at this chart, there's something that is very apparent. that long red curve there. That that line is red. I mean, bright red, and it's curving down. And the thought here was, well, it might be moving up. But if you look at the volume down below, the volume's starting to go down. And I think because it's 6:35, I normally would not take a trade. I've said don't take trades, until about after 6:45. But I thought that I've seen GRI before, and I know it fails. So I took this trade knowing that it could potentially be a failure, and I didn't know how big it could be. But I thought that if this had a chance to go up, it would be right now at the open and not any later. And so we went in with 500 shares, and we were up a few bucks, $7 and down. And I think, well, we used our template, 10 cents up, 5 cents down. And but this stock was a lot closer to the downside than it was to the upside. So I should have waited. This was a little too early because those EMAs, the blue, the magenta, and the cyan lines are inverted. And then we've got the big red line curving down there, and it hasn't turned around. So, and I don't think it ever turned around. I think it just either went down a little bit more, and then stayed around the 50, somewhere around the 50 cents. I didn't check it. But so this was a huge mistake. But again, you're watching what's happening on screen. There's nothing else. And so you make your choices. And when you're trading, it doesn't matter how good you are. You're going to take a look at things, and you're going to make your choices. And those choices are, what are you ready to lose? And that's what happens. So it dumps. The other thing is, if you look on the 5-minute, it's a big 5-minute red bar there, and even the awesome oscillator showing the volume there, huge red. The 133 10-second chart was doing the same thing. So yeah, so that was a very bad choice, poor choice on my part. And now we're down 42 bucks, and now we need to try to figure out what we're going to do and hope that something else comes up. SMX was starting to move up again, and it was halted. And I had traded this before and made 70 bucks last few days ago, and it's moving up. And so I tried to jump in with 3 shares, and I got rejected. Charles Schwab said you needed to call it in. So we're watching beat, and if you remember last Friday, Black Friday, we got beat for $114 on this stock when it was trading around 129. And a few days ago, it moved up again, and now it started to move up. And today, I did notice that it was playing around the 150, but I did not pay any attention to it whatsoever. I said, I'm not going to get beat a second time, Beat me once, okay, but beat me twice, my fault, right? So, but we're watching it. I'm watching it. And sorry about that. I keep using the we. I would imagine that we all us were watching beat at one point or another. And what enticed me about this, even though the MACD line is red there, was the volume didn't go as low. The red there wasn't as big, and it appeared that it was going to pick up. And I saw a bullish pattern here, and I don't know if it is a bullish pattern as much as it is an evaluation that folks are going to start kicking it back up because of its price, because it's rightly priced, and obviously folks didn't like MIGI, AXIL, and GRI sold off. So this made sense, and PETS was moving too slow, and BTCC also didn't show any interest. So I think there was a certain set of buyers who were looking at stocks, and they were looking for sub $2 stocks, and this made sense. So here's the classic 1 minute pullback. and even sort of a 5-minute pullback there. And we were thinking of 500 shares, but I looked at what I was available. The cash I had, $1,900 on tap, and I could take 1,000 shares. And so I clicked on the 1,000 to go in and use my my 10 cents up, 5 cents down template. And I was waiting here. The reversal, the trend reversal here was interesting because that should have taken me away from trading this stock. And if I had not made this trade, I would have been done for the day and lost, 42 bucks. But against the judgment of that trend reversal, I decided to go in and jump in for a few cents. And I think what I was thinking that the folks would like it because of the price point, and that they would jump in. And I think that's exactly what happened. So we made $71 on this one trade. This is our last one. Tomorrow we'll probably do that. Stay away from early trades and look for the one that is going to get us green. Thank you all for watching. Hit the like button, and I hope you guys were green, and have a wonderful rest of your day.